Thank you. You're one of the few Democrats that I think really grasp the impact of what this we're talking about here today. Because at church on Sunday, we had a prayer that asked God to enlighten all who inflict darkness on others. Ask God to enlighten all who inflict darkness on others. So in essence, to educate our political leaders that there are consequences to their policies. Look, Mr. Chairman, the Democrats control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. You all can force a restructuring of the fossil fuel economies all across America. But I don't believe you fully understand the consequences of your action will result in higher utility bills and lost jobs. Look, how many coal mines, oil wells, refineries, coal-fired power plants are in cities like New York, Chicago, or San Francisco? People working in these fossil fuels are not statistics, but they're real people with families. They've maintained their way of life for over a century. But now liberal Democrats are using a political timeline to eliminate the use of fossil fuels in 10 years or less. Now, I've heard the promise of a just transition. It just won't happen. Look at what's happened over history with the steel, the electronics, and the textile industries. The government said all the same promises, but betrayed the American people. Mr. Chairman, there was an editorial in today's Wall Street Journal. It was their effort, I think, to educate its readers on the consequences of Biden's energy agenda. It begins with, it's clear, Beijing is clear that it will ignore any carbon emission commitments that impinge on China's economic growth. It goes on to say, Chinese leaders don't mind the Paris Accord because they know it doesn't bind them to anything, while Western nations will harm their economies with new regulations and misallocated resources. The Chinese must be dumbfounded, the article goes on, the editorial says. It must be dumbfounded that the United States administration wants to kill the shale natural gas boom that has kept energy prices low and made the U.S. less reliant on foreign oil. And then it ends with, quote, no wonder Beijing thinks America is in decline. Oh, so much for China's commitment to climate change. We can't trust them on trade, South China Sea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, human rights, intellectual property. Why should we think we can trust them on pollution? So let me get this straight. America will have higher utility bills, lost jobs, a less reliable grid, and we're still going to experience extreme weather events. All the while, China continues to pollute. So if I could go turn to the mayor in Gillette. Mayor, wouldn't it make more sense for us in America to perfect carbon capture so that we can continue to use our fossil fuels and maintain a stable economy in the coal fields and natural gas productions, especially that, for example, in Wyoming?
Well, absolutely, Congressman McKinley, and thank you for the question. That is what we have been advocating for years now. Work with us. We have some of the cleanest coal in the country. We already have perfected some, we have started at least on working on cleaning the carbon out of the coal, and our research that we've done at our integrated test center, which also has the X Prize, which awarded a multi-million-dollar prize yesterday for using carbon in construction.
So Mayor, if I could, I've got a couple more questions for you.
Okay.
One, how would you recommend, or what would you recommend? How do we do this to educate our members of Congress about the injustices that their policies will inflict on their fellow Americans? How do we educate them?
Well, we would invite people to come and visit us here, where we can show them what we have been working on. We've got the Department of Energy here. We've got universities from across the nation here working on our research. Work with us.
Thank you. Mayor, you referenced yours, the energy capital of America, and earlier you heard Chairman Pallone say that renewables will create more jobs than are currently in the fossil fuels. Now, I'm aware of the number of jobs at the coal-fired power plants and gas-fired power plants, but could you tell me out in Gillette, what's the size of the parking lot for employee parking lot outside a wind farm?
You know, I'd have to be truthful and say I've never seen a parking lot outside
you.
of a.
And Mayor, I don't think we have either. So I think this is disingenuous for us to be thinking we're going to create long-term jobs by switching over. I think we can find a mix that works out, and so that we keep our fossil fuels as part all of the above. So I thank you, and I yield back the balance of my time.